Now, let us see something called basics of SQL. Now, SQL is structured querying language. Now, extraction of information from the tables in your database, they happen through something called querying. Querying. Querying is nothing but questioning. As you all know, query means question. Querying means questioning. So, you will have a database in which you will have many tables, the tables which are connected. Now, what you do is you given a question to the database or a query to the database, and the database will give you an answer. That is what is done by SQL. You do it in a very structured way. That is why they say it is called SQL, a structured querying language. Now, the structured querying language, it comes in two variants. You call it DDL, data definition language, and DML, or data manipulation language. Now, first, let's see what do you mean by data definition language. Now, if you want to query, the first thing you want to have is you need to have a database. Now, the notations or the query is nothing but a line of code. Okay, the query to make a database, that is called data definition language. Now, not only database, you even need to make a table. Now, to make the table, you say you create the table. You write a query to create the table. Not only one table, you will need to create many tables. You will have to make links between the tables. Now, all of that, creating the structure or defining the schema, you do it with the help of a data definition language. You create the structure. You create the structure of the database and the tables. You call it data definition. You are defining the tables, defining the schema. Data definition language. And the most simple thing is create. Okay. Now, with this query, you mean that you are creating a table called account. You will be having two fields. Field is nothing but two columns. Okay, you are creating two fields. The first one is account number and the second one is balance. So you're creating such a structure, a table called account, which has two fields. One is account number, which can take characters, let's say A1, A2, A3. It can go on. Let's say you even have something like A100. And balance can be only integers, so you can have a balance like 3.12, 4,800, only integers, because that is how I have done it. Now, how you write the query in detail, we will see it later. Now, all what you need to know is, what do you mean by a DDL, data definition languages? It is actually a notation or the type of SQLs where you create or define the database schema. Now, just like you have DDL, you even have another set of language called DML, or DML is also known as the query language. Now, if you want to access the data or manipulate the data, you will be using the querying language. Now, imagine I have a table like this with the data over here. I simply given a question. Increase everybody's account balance by 100 rupee. I am doing a manipulation. Okay, manipulation, you need not think of it in negative terms. I'm just doing a alteration in my table. I call it a DML. I'm doing a manipulation, and for that, I will be using the DML. Now, this DML itself, it can happen in two classes. You call it declarative or non-procedural and procedural, all which we will be seeing in detail later. Now, procedural DML means you specify what data is required and you even specify how to get it. Okay, you specify what data is required and even how to get it. You write an exact procedure or a function for it. In non-procedural or declarative, what you do is you specify what is required, but you do not tell how to do it. How to do it, the database will have to help itself with the help of the relations, flows, and all that. So in non-procedural, you do not write an exact procedure. You just tell what is needed, but you don't tell how you get it. But in procedural, you have exact procedures for it. You know what data is required, and you even in detail tell how to get the data.